Oh, well, I'm over here at L&N Depot, and I'm taking a much needed walk because, come on, there we go. Had to turn my truck on a little bit to get my window rolled up, and I think I'm picking up a little bit of weight. Something tagged me right. I don't know what that was. I'm not. I don't know what that is. I think it's a fester bump or something. Something bit me, and right there when I had some hair in my face, and I shaved it off last night, and now I got to shave it. I gotta when I get home, I'm gonna get all of this off because I don't like shaving and then leaving this up and then it shows all the gray. I like for it to just come back naturally all together if it grows back. But I was looking at some of my other videos, especially on TikTok. I look a little bit more skinnier right in here, and of course it's right here. I don't know what the world that is. I don't know what bit me. So I think what I need to do is start walking again because whereas I used to walk in Amazon every single night, most around the whole darn building, and then I went to work for Allied Universal and worked with them 3 months and walked around the building once or twice, maybe 3 times. When I first started, about three or four times. They're like, "Golly, man, it's killing me." And so I just started walking around a couple times a night, and then of course it got cold, and I was working every weekend. It's like every weekend I worked. It was like cold. So, and when I walked around, and it's like one part of the building it would be like chilly as all get out. The next building on the other side it would be pretty warm because when the sun came up. So now I'm pretty much still working in the same area in the same that same place. So I've been there for about a year now. I worked at Amazon. Then I worked at GE, and the Amazon is across the street from GE. GE is across the street from Amazon. Now I work at another place, which is right down the road from that. So I'm still basically in the same area. Been there for altogether a year now. So anyway, when I go to work and everything, I still have to go the same route as I usually go. When I first started a year ago. Hello. So what I'm gonna do is go out here and walk this trail. I used to walk it about 7 or 8 times, and I need to get out there and do it. Just do it, and we'll talk about things. We'll talk about things that are going on, my life, your life, whoever wants to comment, whatever. I'll try to answer that. And let me see what time it is here. It is 6:11. Probably be done about what 7:30, 7:20, 7:30. Try to do seven laps. Just focus on that, and then we'll go up. Whereas before, it was like I was trying to focus on that. Then I started working Amazon. It wouldn't. Then it was like, she, and I went out here several times. Like, shoot, that ain't nothing. Well, Amazon was a lot bigger. But and then of course GE. What we had to do with GE is like walking Amazon like 3 or 4 times in a night. It's like big around that darn building. But anyway, what I'm doing now, the job I got now, is a full time job. It's 40 hours a week, which is good. My other jobs weren't. It was anywhere from 32. Sometimes it could be 28 to 32, maybe 36, and sometimes it'd be 40. It just kind of varied over there at Amazon. But with the other job I had, the job I left at Allied Universal, they were supposed to get me 40 hours a week. Something fell through with that. I got tired of waiting around. I had the opportunity to go to work for this other company here, and so I jumped on it. Really nice company. I just got off of with talking to the guy about these things, these discounts I can get for vision and dental and stuff, and that's going to be awesome. Yes, sirree, it's going to be awesome. So I'm looking forward to that, and I meant to ask that dude if I can go ahead and get a copy of my discount because I got to go to tomorrow and get a. It's not like it's bothering me or anything, but I just need to get it looked at and kind of filled back into back tooth, my second tooth, my second molar, because your teeth are number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and all the way down, then back down this way, from here down to there. You know, the one above your, you got number 1 tooth, and then the tooth below that is 33 or 32, whatever you're gonna call it. So see if you see what I mean. So anyway, I'm gonna get out of here and walk a little bit. We can talk about things, whatever you want to talk about. We can talk about Amy Lynn Bradley. We can talk about the Bible. We can talk about swords, katanas, work. I don't care. Whatever you want to talk about. So I don't care. Jackson Harfield, how you doing there, bud? How are you doing? Yeah, but yeah, I think I'm picking up a little bit of weight, and so I need to kind of normalize myself. I need to kind of. I really lost weight a couple of years ago. Whenever I was about a year and a half, 2 years ago, whenever I was at work over there at Randstad with Denzo, what had happened? I think my pancreas kind of got a little upset with me. I was losing a little bit of weight as it was, but my pancreas kind of got out a little. I don't know, something happened with it there. Kind of probably ate a little more than I should have, and which I'm doing that now, so I need to settle down. And so I was kind of had some weight, and then after that I got sick and I wasn't eating as much and everything, and I was sick for about a week. I was just throwing up a little bit at first, and I just felt really sick. My inflamed pancreas or something. The doctor said it was pancreatitis or something like that. But eventually got better from it. And sometimes I kind of felt nauseous a bit. And so I haven't been really feeling that anymore. So glad about that. So it kind of tells me that picking up just a tad more weight is kind of showing that, maybe my pancreas is doing better. But at the same time, too, don't want to overdo it again. I had the same thing going over again, end up having to get the gallbladder or something like that taken out. My mom had hers taken out. I wanted to see if mine to stick in there as much as it can. It will. But anyway, eating Chinese food really doesn't help matters. Greasy food really doesn't help matters. And I'm not really much of a guy that likes to cook and stuff, at home. Hello, Freya. How you doing? Freya is such a pretty name. I like that name, Freya. Who gave you that name? I wonder. Did your mom give you that name? Goodness. I'm trying to look at your picture. See if you look like a Freya. I don't know if you do or not. But anyway, yeah, Freya is such a pretty name. One of those Germanic, not Germanic, but yeah, on top of that, my eyes are acting funny. My eyes are getting weird, y'all. And I'm supposed to go to 17th and go to the eye doctor and get an exam done for my eyes. So I was supposed to get it done in September, but I didn't have the money because I quit my job with Amazon, and I was supposed to go to another job, but that didn't work out. And that was supposed to be a temp job as well. That didn't work out. But my eyes are acting really weird and kind of getting a little, kind of glip. I don't know why I call them glips, but they act a little weird. First of all, I had like little rings in them, and that rings were like all broken up and everything. And then when I kind of glanced side to side, and little circles in one, then it happened to another one. Whoops. And that kind of both of them quit doing that. And then one minute there's like these little specks of, like when you see oil and water or whatever, it's like little specks in my eyes or whatever. They're kind of floaters, but I'm kind of trying to like doing like this and like trying to get it out of the way. But eventually that kind of dissolved and whatever. Now I just got my normal floaters. So anyway, but they aren't all that great, you know. Well, my day's going okay, being that I just turned 54. Chopped. What does that mean? Chopped. Swag Lord Eddie. What a name. But anyway, I'm about to go for a walk here. I need to hurry and go because there are people coming up, and usually they'll just walk a little bit, then they go back to the cars. I don't like walking behind nobody. If they're walking slow and if I'm at a certain pace, I like to get around. I don't like going around people. I just like being off to myself. I'm an introvert that way. So let me get my fat ass out the truck, and I'm still fat. See that? Kind of looking like my mom on my waist. Looks like I lost weight in my neck. But whenever I do this, not so much. Something bit me right there. I don't know what the heck bit me. Yeah, my belly's big. Weird thing is though, a lot of my pants are still loose on me. And whereas before they were a little tight, they're still a little bit loose. Like these ones I have on right now, they're a 44, I think they were. So they're a little bit tight. And they were a little bit loose at one point. And now they kind of tighten just a little bit, not very much. So that tells me in a way I kind of got a little bit more weight. But usually my pant size is about 46. But then I got some stretchy blue jeans and stuff with elastic. And those suckers are real loose. I got to keep pulling them up. But before, when I had some weight on me and everything, it was just not as much. I didn't have to pull them up as much. But then again, I didn't wear a belt with them. But some of my pants I could just pull straight up and everything, and I have to just kind of and then button them. So, oh well, thank you. Nah, not right now. You don't have to watch it if you don't want to, Eddie. You can go somewhere else. You don't have to watch, buddy. I'm gonna go home here pretty soon and get this damn hair off my head. Get it back to ball, baby. I just haven't been walking in a long time. Well, this kind of walking at least. And I'm watching this fellow over here, this family. I'm gonna wait till they get up there. Where are they at? There you are. I'm gonna wait till I have a long stretch. And then I'm gonna go start walking. There's a lot of trains around me too. See all these trains? I don't know. Should I take that as a compliment? That I'm built like a train? I don't know. One of them are you. Oh, okay. Thank you for that. I think. I mean, I had a little bit. I was about up to 275. That might be 285, 290 now. Right under 300, I think. But I was at 320, 330, about 330 something. Then I lost weight. I got down to 270 something. So I might be up another 15 pounds. I'm not quite sure. But I guess we'll see. Because eventually I'm going to run out of high blood pressure medicine, and I got to go see the doctor and everything because I don't have a prescription to be filled back in. I got to go to the doctor and see them and get them to refill it. And they have to take my blood pressure and stuff like that. And it was, last time I was there, it was kind of high, but my A1C was lower. So my chance of getting the diabetes thing, whatever it was a lot lower. And I'm like, whoa, thank you, Lord. And so that's good. But here lately, I've been taking a poop about every day because I eat way too much. So it might be kind of getting back up, or it might be pretty high as it is. So I think I need to go ahead and nip it in the bud before I even get back to the doctor. And I'm trying to eat more healthier stuff, but at the same time too, end up eating stuff I don't need probably. But I'm not really good at cooking. I can cook stuff, but I just don't want to stay home and do it. I just don't like staying home. My son can cook. But anyway, at least try to eat some healthier stuff at least, buy healthier stuff. I didn't say I had diabetes, no. I said I keep on the way I am, I might. Yes, I am. I'm not, let's just say it like this. I am in the middle of a divorce from my wife after 23, 24 years, and about close to 18 or 19 years she has spent her time, and a good bit of that time of our marriage in prison. So I'll just say it like that. Yeah. Brother, what? Okay. Hey, yeah. But yeah. So here it is, the first lap. And I see there's other people out here beside me walking around. Got a couple pushing their baby. A guy ahead of me. He looks like he's seriously using walking other than myself. I feel like I got a lot of energy too. I mean, like the other day, man, I just felt like about to bust with energy, taking vitamins and stuff. But it's just that I can kind of feel the weight coming back just a little bit. And whereas this, I had a bit of a waddle, it's kind of filled back out a little bit. See right there. That used to hang down a little bit lower. But it's kind of filled back in just a little bit. Like I said, I think I'm getting more weight in my midsection than I am up in here. The fat's kind of going different now. Whereas before I was just all in my jowls and stuff, and in my waist and in my thighs, stuff like that. My ankles bothered me, stuff like that. Knees hurt at times. My ankles are bothering me right now doing this, but they're being stretched, so that helps. Golly, I'm still number one. Jeez, can't believe it. It's been like a month or so since I've been out here walking, and even when I did that, I was only walked about 2 or 3 laps because I was getting exercise at work. Well, I don't know, because the last couple of weeks when I was working there, weekends, it was freaking cold, man. So I didn't go out there walking around. It snowed and everything else. So I stayed up at that little booth waiting for trucks to come and all that stuff, and they never came. Supposed to get them to pick up the trailers and stuff. That's the same thing I do now where I'm at. But I get paid $1 more, and I get paid 16 hours more instead of 24 hours. And it's a little bit closer, about a mile or two closer. So that's a good thing. Look at jet. Yep, next week is daylight savings. And it's going to be nice to have a little bit of sun up when it's about like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And then something I'm kind of looking forward to is because here, like I said before, I don't know what it is, but I've kind of been so emotionally. Right when it first came out, Amy Lynn Bradley is missing and everything. About July something, August, September, I started really getting into it. I was part of the TikTok thing, and I was looking at stuff and kind of doing my own investigation, looking up the ship and everything. I found some information as far as Vision of the Seas ship. It's a sister ship of Rhapsody of the Seas, the same ship that style that Amy was on when she disappeared in 1998, March 24th, 1998. And she that ship had docked the same place that the Rhapsody did months before. So I thought that was pretty cool. So I sent that link to Miss Iva or her people or whatever, and they are using it as part of the website. And I had not been able to find any more since then. They kind of are from that era or from that time frame with a Vision class boat ship from Royal Caribbean. I'm about to say Caribbean. Could call it Crab Bean. Royal Crab Bean. That's cool. Royal Crab Bean. I'm going to see if this door is unlocked. I'm kind of curious. I bet you it's locked. Let's see here. Oh, no, that's open. Good. It's warm inside, too. Here shortly, though, they'll probably lock it up. What time is it? 6:30. How you to be, buddy? Let's see here. And I did, and evidently I guess he didn't get it. That dude back there. I think he's sprint running. Runs a little bit, then he stops. Runs a little bit, then he stops. Well, I would do that, but there he goes. I've got boots on. I don't have shoes. You better get it. Slow and steady. Just like these trains out here. Slow and steady and noisy. Start going someplace. Then just start pulling out. You're welcome. So I got a good little brisk walk on me. So it's not like I'm I just need to it's been like I'll say about a little bit more than a month since I walked around a huge building. So I need to kind of get myself back in, and that probably a little bit more than that. I need to kind of get my, what do you say? Stamina or whatever stamina that I have back up, and and kind of at the same time too burn off some of this excess weight and stuff, because last year about this time I think I might have been a little bit thinner, not by much what I am now, but at least a little bit more, and so then I kind of need to get back down to that, because I started at Amazon and I was, I'm on my second lap. I'm trying to think of which one I'm on. Yeah, I started at Amazon about this time last year, and I have to say it was a whole lot better then. It just got worse and worse, because they just changed rules at random. You can't do this, you can't sit down, you got to be always standing, this and that. And I'm like, golly, why do I always be standing? Even when nobody's coming through, everybody's not even taking a break. I mean, not doing breaks and stuff. You got to stand up there at the thing and screen them. Like you got to wait for people. I'm like, no, it's just ridiculous. People be sitting there when I first started, be looking at their phones, watching the phone most of the night before you got to get up and go do some screening. And that's what they would do. And then they go screen, and I sit back down and wait a little longer, and just sit up there and watch their phones, and it wasn't no big deal, and then they started changing stuff up, and because some people, admittedly, they did fall asleep. There's a couple times I sat there right beside another fella who's way more experienced at it, and he fell asleep. Oh, that's one it was. And I'm looking at him like, oh, he's asleep. And the desk supervisor, the guy who was in charge of all the alarms and stuff like that, he'd fall asleep. But and everybody, we all had cameras on us, and any little thing would wake us up. Just kind of brush it off like, oh, he was sleeping. Just closed our eyes. But they started getting really ridiculous about that. Hey, Robin. And things started changing. Then you had to sit up at the divesting table the whole time, not move from it. You can walk around and do whatever. But it got to be really pathetic. Just stupid. So fortunately I got out of that, and I was hoping whenever I got out of that, because I did a dumb thing and I quit, so I had to do something else, and this Allied Universal thing came up, and they did it remotely as far as hiring people. I didn't know that until the end there. Then they finally called me up and asked if I want to take the job. I said sure. And a month or so in, they were talking about, we're talking about getting more hours and stuff like that, 40 hours a week. And a certain person leaving said, don't say anything. I was like, well, what am I going to say? That person didn't leave. And I ended up being the person who left. And the snow got really bad. And I couldn't get back, and they got all cantankerous and bitchy and moany. So it's like, well, give us our uniforms back within a week. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm not going to risk going out there on that freaking black ice. It's terrible. The roads are terrible. I mean, it was bad to get back to Cleveland at least. And so they just got, well, we ain't got nobody to go out there. Oh, sure you do. You just want me to get out there. You got people to get out there. We can get the field supervisor to come get you. You're going to tell me he's going to come 35 miles to pick me up and take me home 35 miles. And I knew the supervisor, or field supervisor. He was my old boss from Securitas. And I'm like, you're going to get Dane to come all the way about there and pick me up. And you're going to put him at risk in his own car, or rather their car. I was like, that just don't make good sense. I didn't say that, but I was thinking it. I spoke it. So I'm on my third lap here. Number 3. But like last year when I was out here walking, and it was cold. Probably about like 30 degrees or something, or 35. My hands were cold. After a few laps, I start warming up. Feel circulation in my hands and stuff. Warmed up. Like right now, my ankles were bothering me. Now they're not too much. I just kind of feel bloated a little bit. Summertime comes, I'm gonna hate it. What I might do is just walk around at the job. We can do that. But usually it takes a while to kind of walk around as opposed to riding a golf cart. And so I don't know, I might do that. Need to hurry, and if somebody comes and stuff, we need to hurry and get back to the gate and kind of sign them in and make sure they get a respirator and hard hat and glasses, what have you, or if they coming in for a load. Make sure they get the right paperwork instead of having them sit out there. So I'll walk my little happy ass back over there and let them in, Kind of feel this in my gut and in my ribs here, because I ain't done this in a while. Let's see what time it is. 6:43. Okay. Rose Bill. Bunch of trains. Yeah. Yeah. If I can get to 3, complete 3 and then do 4. Do 4, then do 5. Do 5, then do 6. Do 7, then do 7. And maybe tomorrow or something I might do 9. 1,600 feet all the way around. So I think if I'm walking from here all the way to town, Food City, I might have walked that by now, I don't know. I forgot how many miles, it's probably 2 miles, 3 miles, something like that. I like walked like 9 of them or something. We'll see. 36 minutes. I was doing a little bit of yapping before all that, wasn't I? I didn't exactly time it out from the time I started, because I was doing a little bit of yapping first. At least I got a good steady walk up, I feel sweaty on here, but I just don't see the sweat. The dude in front of me, he's kind of held up a little bit, so I might pass him. I don't know. Came over here and sit down a little bit. Usually whenever I do my laps and stuff, I don't stop until I get it done. Just want to get it done. But I'm on my 4th one right now. 4th lap. I can tell I'm sweating a little bit because I'm kind of itchy. My back starts itching. It's like I hear a lot in my back. See? You see it? I don't know. Fell off my head and went on my back. When I get home, I'm attacking this crap. I'm gonna get that crap off my head. Come on, dude, walk up a little faster. Number 4. I'm just gonna commit to 7. Just gonna do it. Do 7. To kind of do just a break it back in. Because I've been getting on very close to 2 months since I've been walking around the structure. And even when I did that, I didn't do, well, I don't know if it's been almost 2 months yet, exactly, no, a little over a month. And even when I did that, I didn't do it at this pace because I had to go up 2 stairs, take the little thing, scan it. I probably got more exercise doing that because I had to go upstairs, go back down, walk a little bit, go upstairs, go back down. So initially, I probably got more exercise doing that than just plainly walking around. And there was a couple of times where it was pretty cold and I didn't do it. But other times when I went around and drove my truck and hit the gate scans. But initially, whenever it wasn't that cold, and I had to do a tour around or whatever. Probably did it like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And, well, yeah, something like that. And I just get my jacket on, put my earmuff things on, turn my Bluetooth on in them. Have a thing about, like an hour long person versus another person, like Superman in a Marvel world or something like that. Superman versus Homelander, or what have you. Or Batman versus Darth Vader or something. I don't know, Star Trek. Something that was long for like an hour. And I just listen to it, kind of keep my mind on something else, but I hit the scans from the doors all the way around the building, and nice and warm, and just do that. That way I can kind of keep focused, listen to the story at the same time, not so much think about all the flights, some steps I had to go up, scan the thing. Sometimes I can take the little scanner, depends on how much light there was, or if I took my flashlight, kind of shined the little thing on the scanner, I took the little pad, scan it that way. But in all reality though, I needed to check doors, make sure they were locked. So, did that. What the hell is that? Oh, carbuncle. Thing in the tree. Alright. Coming up number 5. Feels pretty good actually to do this. And this was what I was doing last year. Not this past year, maybe a little bit past year. I was October. I was doing it, walking around and stuff. Whenever I was out of work, because it's my fault. Quit my job. First time I quit a job in years. Usually I would make sure I had another job. But this time I just cold turkey quit. Well, and that's another thing. I've been eating candy bars more often. Not every day, but a little bit more often. And sodas, even though some of them are 0 sugar and everything. So, kind of get that sweet tooth back. I love Hershey's bars with the almonds. I love it. I'm loving them. And so, yeah, I need to quit with that. Well, I mean, sometimes it's okay, but not 3 times a week. Okay. I think I'm on number 5. Just started at lap number 5. Alright, so a little change in the topic. I've been watching, I watched last night, I watched all of Amy Bradley's Missing again. Because I just wanted to catch up on some things. Make sure I understood things right. I haven't watched the whole episode since July, at the end of July. And I was trying to watch it a couple of months ago. I ended up falling asleep, a month or so ago. And I kept falling asleep. I remember number 5. 555. Anybody watch remember number 5? But anyway, I kept falling asleep. And I'll just watch it later. And so some of the things on that show really don't make sense. And I think it's not the Bradleys, it's not Brad. explaining it. It's the show itself, Netflix. Whenever they try to do the timeline thing, because the thing with, and if you know what I'm talking about, then you, if you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. Concerning Amy Lynn Bradley and the emotions that show plays with, the emotions of just the whole general thing of Amy disappearing and everything, and you learn her backstory, you learn who she was as a person, you know, not perfect by any stretch, very athletic, very centered, down to earth young woman who knew what she wanted. Her mom and dad raised her well, and Brad, and to be good, productive people and stuff, you know, and then her disappearing, and because her mom and dad didn't want to, they with a company want a trip, cruise rather, and so they were, you know, got to go on Rhapsody of the Seas, the largest cruise ship at the time. Now it's dwarfed. It's not the largest anymore. But went on this trip and everything, and the dude, one of those band guy there by the name of Yellow Alistair Douglas, had a thing of, let's see, with women. What is that? I don't know who Neil Gardner is. Okay, I'll get back to that. And crickets. But anyway, Amy was really a remarkable person, and pray to God that she still is a remarkable person. That is to say, she's still alive. Everybody liked her. Everybody thought a lot of her. Stuff like that. Very magnetic personality. She got a little wild at times, but she knew the boundaries. But on this cruise, Rhapsody of the Seas in Curacao, 1998, March 24th, she went out, her and Brad, out drinking and everything, and doing some fun stuff, dancing, carrying on. Kept it nominal. Drank, of course, yes, but kept it nominal. Didn't get sloppy ass drunk. And but anyway, the thing of it is, she ended up disappearing before she can get back to. She walked out of the room, ended up disappearing before she can get back with her mom, dad, and Brad. And before 6 o'clock, they were going out on an excursion to Curacao. And previous night they were planning what to do, jet ski rentals, what have you, this, that, and the other. Just going out and having fun. But that turned out to be not the case. And so here it is, 28, it's March 24th, will be 28 years exactly since she's disappeared. And that's sad. And for some reason or another, it emotionally, whenever I first read it, when I first saw it, and I got on Reddit, and people were coming up with all kind of weird stuff. Oh my gosh, it's crazy stuff. And then I started really making these videos, and I got emotionally involved with it, man. It was just emotional. It's like the woman with my sister or something. I can empathize with her. It was empathic. I can't get that word out. Empathy.
for her, you know, not just sympathy, but empathy. It's like I could feel everything that she might have felt or is actually feeling, you know. But I don't know why, why that tugged at me so much concerning Amy. I have no idea why. But a lot of people have done that too, other than me, you know. I mean, it had me in tears, man. It really bothered me. Whew. Number 6. I think that's number 6. Yeah, it is, because I've been talking about Amy the whole time. Number 6. It had me in tears. It really did. And I was trying to do all I could to find out things about certain things. And like I said, I sent videos of the closest thing of a ship being in Curacao around about that time. The closest thing was Vision of the Seas in 1998. They went to Curacao and docked in the same spot as the dude coming up behind me. Not in the same spot as the Rhapsody of the Seas did months before. So it was December. It was about 8 months later, or something like that. 9 months. So that's a long time. So I saw that dude behind me. I'm like, hold on, everybody. I don't know. Carmela. Girl on Twitch. Yapping. But yeah, that was a long time ago. Long time. Period. From March to March 24th to December, early December. And I'm thinking to myself, if she did anything with Yellow, because there was a time gap, and hopefully she didn't, because she probably embarrassed herself enough as it was. And if her mom and dad would have seen the video highlights that they eventually put out, they would have seen Amy dancing with Yellow and he was groping all over and stuff, Alistair. And that would have been somewhat embarrassing. And I think she probably knew that. And it probably shamed her. Because she had some kind of letter to Molly or whatever her name, her friend was. And Amy was kind of come out, and as far as she told her boyfriend Tom, I like who I like. You know, in other words, I gotta go both ways. You know, but I like you as a guy, but I also like her. And Tom was like, oh, okay. But they kind of want to put it in the show that Tom was her boyfriend at the same time she was missing and stuff. And she was supposed to come home to him and have this new job doing something for her aunt and uncle and everything. But I think she kind of broke up with him. A light breakup. They were still friends and loved each other. Tom still loved her, but they just didn't go off on dates like they used to. Tom was a little bit older. But anyway, she ended up disappearing and all, and people say, well, oh, I saw her here, I saw her there, you know, I saw Amy this place and that place, you know. They came back a couple weeks later, Brad and Tom and a couple of Brad's uncles, and they were going down the street, and the 6-1, right? 6-1. They were going down the street. A car passed, and Brad says, And somebody said, Brad, Brad. And Brad said, "Hey, you hear that?" And they all heard it. You know, at least they said they did. Tom, whenever they had an interview with Tom, he admitted, yeah, I heard it. I heard Brad. You know. And I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe if they already had that press release, news press thing, it could have been somebody out there who probably recognized them and said, Brad, Brad, instead of what it might have been. Amy. Somebody smoking pot. Yeah, that dude over here smoking pot. Oh, and oh my gosh. But dude over here beside this wooden structure smoking pot. This tent thing. But anyway, it said Brad, Brad. And he turned around, got to find out it wasn't anybody, just an old guy by himself. So, how you doing? What's up?
What you got for sale?
Huh? Oh, Rico, I didn't know that's you, man. You doing all right?
What you got for sale, man?
Not much. What you up to? Got for sale?
Smoking this joint.
Huh?
You smoking this joint.
Smoking that joint?
Hell yeah, that's what I'm up to. You got no old coins you want to sell?
Not right off, I don't.
No sports cards?
No, sure don't.
I think I asked you before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm just, I only had that katana, but that's about it. And as far as a couple Tonka trucks. Whew,
That's about it?
that's about it. Well, I had some old comics and stuff. I had some Superman omnibus comics. They were had reprints of the old comics, real thick ones.
Yeah.
That's about it too. Because I thought my son might like to have them. The hell, he's always working. He don't pay no damn attention to him.
I hear you. All right, man.
All right, man. I'm gonna run around here. You too, bud. We'll see you. Thanks. Oh, that's Rico. That's Rico. So I'll do one more lap after this one. Kind of get my heart rate back up again. So, when I smell pot. But anyway, it's thought that Amy still might be around. And she's been seen and everything. But anyway, like I said, I watched that show and it got to me. It really made me emotional. It really did. Not the show, the whole idea of her out there. Number seven. I gotta think about what I'm trying to do here. Number 7. The whole idea of her being out there and everything, and all by herself. Oh gosh, somebody's vaping. I'd rather smell a joint than somebody vaping. God almighty. Whew. Please stay there for a minute so I can pass by. Thank you. And go on through. Nope. Not gonna do it. I can start hurting there for a minute. Whew. It ain't used to it. It's been out of action for about a month or so. But anyway, she had a hell off the train of thought. Hello, how y'all doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Hey, girl. But she's thought to still. There we go. Smell that pot again. She's thought to have been in Curacao somewhere at that time. Now possibly Barbados because they keep getting hits on these IP addresses. And somebody will watch family time videos and stuff like that, and either wanting to know if Amy's mom and dad are alive, or just to reconnect with her mom and dad and family. So that's either David Carmichael was saying that's either Amy, or that's either either somebody's trying to keep up, because they got Amy and everything. So, when you think about it, that dude invited her to come to Charlie's and Cece's or whatever, Coco's and Aruba. It's like, no, I'm staying on the ship. I ain't going nowhere. That night, you would think that they would try to get their way with her. And of course, Natalie Holloway, she ended up disappearing and run about in that same area too, in Aruba. But the thing about the show though gets me is the timeline though. As far as whenever, because like I said, I watch it another time, the whole thing again. I've been wanting months to do it, watch it again. The last time I tried to, I fell asleep. And I might watch it again tonight. And just for the hell of it, just to hear things, because it's like one of my most favorite movies in the world, Superman or Star Wars, or listen to a song more than once. You ended up knowing the whole song, the whole movie, verbatim just about, because you watch it so many times, So I think that's what I'm going to do. Keep on watching it until I know everything that they said on Netflix. But I do wish they would kind of backfill it with some more episodes, because that doesn't seem complete because of the timeline. The thing that saw Amy dancing with Yellow and everything, and he had his hands all over her. She evidently allowed it. So when they get back to the balcony, her and Brad, about 3:40, 3:45, she tells Brad that, not making it out of a big deal, that Yellow got fresh with her. She didn't, and Brad says she didn't make a big deal out of it. And I think in one of her podcasts, as a brother, he said, like, if I was any other, I think he said if it was any other person, he wouldn't have touched his sister. I feel the same way about my sister. I'm the older brother, but my sister is younger, about the same age difference, and she can damn well take care of herself. She's feisty. She's more like my daddy, I'm more like my mom. So it's something else. And but getting on number 7 here. Finish up 7. Whew, what was I thinking? What was I saying? Yeah, but she's feisty as all get out, my sister. But Amy evidently was too. And she seemed to be in both versions of Iva and Ron, her dad. Her way of just taking her magnetic personality and stuff like that. I think that's what really drew me, from what I understood. But as far as the time gap, I might do one more. I'm gonna do one more lap. One más. That's the way you talk it out. But what I was saying about the time gap though, is that now if the club was closing, the lounge, the Viking Crown Lounge was closing at 3 o'clock. Brad had previously told Amy, who was up in a DJ booth with some people, hey, I'm going out, and eventually he motioned to her, and everything, and she kind of got the hint. And so it was about, I guess, what, 35 minutes later, whatever, he went out and talked to these girls who eventually saw Amy a couple hours later in the elevator with Yellow. I think that's the way it went. But anyway, he tells Amy, like, I'm going, and Amy gives him like a thumbs up, okay, I got you. So he waits about 30 minutes, whatever, and does whatever, and he finally decides to go to bed. Or go back to the cabin with Mom and Dad. And he's out there sitting on the balcony. Amy comes in, the light's on. As far as what Styles Weekly said back from '99, that Ron had woke up and noticed that the light was on and asked Amy to turn the light out. And I remember seeing this in July, August or whatever. I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. There was more history, there's more into that than it was as far as seen on the podcast and on Netflix. A lot more information, it seems like. So anyway, I was sitting there reading it, and it said something other about Ron had asked Amy to cut the light out, and Amy, and the last thing that Ron had seen was a glow of a marble light walking down toward the balcony. That was Amy. She lit a cigarette. It evidently didn't bother Ivan and Ron, so neither would Amy being gay or whatever you call it bother them either. And some people want to say, well, she jumped over, what have you, because her mom and dad found out she was gay. They already knew that. They knew that well in advance, but I'm getting distracted. But the thing of it is, Amy was talking to Brad about 3:45, 3:50. Brad says, well, hey, look, 6 o'clock's going to come early. We've got a couple hours. I'm going to go ahead and go to bed and everything. Are you coming? And Amy says, no. I'm going to stay out here where the wind is, get some fresh air because I'm just not feeling well. Kind of, get some air instead of going that, I don't want to get in that cramped cabin right now. So she said, okay, love you. He said, okay, love you, good night. And, she replied a compliment. Love you too, Brad, good night. So she stayed out there the whole time. Ron woke up. That was another thing too. Ron had woke up earlier, before 3 o'clock, I suppose, and said, went out there, talked to Brad and everything. He said, hey, y'all, remember we're going on an excursion in a few hours, so don't stay out too late, okay? In other words, he wasn't trying to tell them what to do as adults, but he just reminded them, they all wanted to have fun together and kind of be awake to do it. And so he was just kind of reminding Brad. And Brad eventually like, okay, I'm going to go to bed, and told Amy would eventually come back to the cabin 30 to 40 minutes later. The whole point though is, what was she doing between 3 o'clock and 3:40? Where was she at? Nobody seems to really approach that on a Netflix show. And I really haven't heard Brad saying much about it on his podcast and stuff. And those are a lot of podcasts that he's made and interviews that he's done. So to sit back and go through every single one of them would be torture. But, and Brad admits she could have walked off. She could have got smuggled. She could have had, something could have happened to her where she had a seizure or something like that. I don't think he's saying that much more. But, and then you got the thing with somebody in Barbados looking exactly, it kind of looked like Brad in a way. A woman that would look like Brad. A female version of Brad. To me, that's what Amy looked like. If Brad was a woman, looked like Amy. Amy would look like Brad as a guy. But anyway, it just seems that there's some time differences there. 30 to 40 minutes. What was Amy doing with Yellow? Okay, was she with Yellow? Was she doing something else? Then she goes to the cabin. Because, like I said beforehand, Ron had come down and said, hey, remember, I don't do it too hard now. We got this excursion we're going on. We're going to have some fun. And Brad said, yeah, you're right, Dad. Don't go out too late. Brad's 21 years old, and he smokes. His mom and dad let him smoke. I mean, he probably lives in their household, and he smokes. Amy has her own apartment. She smokes and everything. Well, she was moving into her own apartment before all that. So, they're not trying to tell the kids what to do. But there is that 30 to 40 minute gap before Amy gets back down to the room after supposedly the club closes, Viking Lounge closes, and everybody's, okay, you gotta go home, but you can't stay here kind of thing. And so, I think I might do one more. So you ain't gotta go home, but you can't stay here kind of thing. And so, that's what they do. They leave, I suppose, around about 3 o'clock. And, they leave around about 3 o'clock. Number nine. They leave around about 3 o'clock. Everybody leaves. Where does Amy go? 30 or 40 minutes. That's the only thing that they ain't really shared on the Netflix thing. What happened to Amy for the last 30 to 40 minutes between her and Yellow? Because it's got that Amy got back to the cabin, keyed in, 3:40. But it doesn't say where she was. It doesn't even say that, it says that Yellow keyed back in his room the same time Brad did, 3:30, 3:35. She could have been separate from him, from Yellow, doing whatever, or she could have went to the room with him. And, his other bandmates were doing other things. The other fellow, bandmate that was with him, Alexander, whatever his name is, he could have been out getting something to eat on deck 2 with the other crew and everything, because they weren't supposed to be back up there to begin with. The other wasn't supposed to be back up there to begin with. Yet he stayed up there for like 3 o'clock, dancing with Amy and everything, And so he wasn't supposed to be there. So he broke company policy. But anyway, so where was Amy from 3 o'clock to about 3:40? In transit from the time they left the club, or evidently got out of the club, maybe being he's a crew member or whatever, Blue Orchid band member, he could have got some kind of perks and benefits. They hung out with the DJs or whatever, and then they kind of parted ways, and then Amy was doing something, walking around, looking at stuff maybe. She might have been on the upper deck doing something, but nobody's seen her. And then eventually decided to go down, get on back to the cabin and talk to Brad about 3:45, 3:50. Said to Brad, yeah, he was kind of all over me and stuff. Didn't really make a big deal about it. And assuming, she was, Brad said they were both a little tipsy. They weren't drunk, they were just tipsy. But, let's wait a little bit, that's good. So, tells her, no, I'm not coming in there, I'm just gonna stay out here, breeze. Feels good. And it was pretty warm that night. You can look on the weather things to see it was pretty warm. On the weather in Curacao from that time, it shows it's pretty warm where the wind's going. So as they're coming in on the boat, on the ship, there was some wind that was blowing in that direction. If you just take a look at the weather charts at the time, I forgot what the darn website was, but I looked it up, and it would seem the wind would blow against the starboard side of the ship, and where the Bradleys had their cabin at, was pretty much directly underneath the Viking Lounge, what do you want to call it? So it was blowing into the starboard side of the ship. I think the pot smells lingering. You ever notice that some pot just lingers? I don't know. I smell of pot, marijuana. But anyway, they were going into the canal. This was before they had the megaports up. They had the Jakubogas and the other one, the Tula and Jakubogas ports. So they were just starting to build those ports, and eventually the only ship that really goes in there now is the Freewinds. And oddly enough, that Freewind ship goes right to the dock, right in front of the right in front of the immigration dock. And then you got, like I said earlier, the Prince Hendrik Wharf. Well, I don't think I said it on here. That's where the Rhapsody of the Seas went. It goes where that big old bay is, right there at the mouth of the St. Anna Bay, and off to the left, not far from the immigration office. So, that was kind of ironic, because 8 months later, I was talking about the Vision of the Seas. 9 months later, the Vision of the Seas comes and docks exactly in the same spot. The same spot as the Rhapsody did 8 or 9 months earlier. Probably because that was the main parking lot, so to speak, for cruise ships. Keep them out of the bay and everything, Because the Vision of the Seas is like this. The Grandeur of the Seas, Rhapsody of the Seas, Enchantment of the Seas, and Vision of the Seas were the 4 biggest cruise ships of Royal Caribbean. So they were the biggest at the time, within, cruise ships standards. And then they started having these bigger ones, Oasis of the Sea, Majesty of the Seas, huge ships, look like beluga whales almost. All right, that's 9. So, we did it. What time is it? Yep, that's what I thought. About 7:30ish. Hour and 20 minutes. So anyway, almost hour and 20 minutes. Because I've been talking on here for a little bit too. But the whole point is, since ships have gotten bigger now, they don't put them in the canal anymore in Curacao. They have them on the ports outside of the canal. And the only ships that really come in there are ships that had been docking there since before, or had a license or whatever you want to call it, since before all that stuff. Oh Lordy, my thigh's killing me. So now they just they dock they just dock ships a little bit smaller and have a less of a draught to them and everything. Here's that cop. He's gonna lock the doors. So he's gonna probably say, "Hey, I ain't seen you in a while." He's coming quite a bit. But they're gonna be I'm about to say they're gonna lock the doors. But those ships are way bigger now. And so imagine if they got the biggest Royal Caribbean ship in there, it would take up half the St. Anna Bay. So they don't do that no more, and they would have to tug it in because of the draught. That the very bottom of the ship could come very close to the bottom of the canal, and the canal I think is anywhere from 75 to 80 feet deep. St. Anna Bay. So they would have to tug it in there, and they would have to, of course, have a pilot and all that stuff. Most big ships like that, they do have pilots, but some can go in there without being tugged, others can't. But the thing with OH, the bigger ships, they have the azimuth, those motors on the front, whatever they can. And so did division class ships. They had that on them too, but not like these do. They have all kind. They can turn all kind of ways, boy. They can turn sideways, this ways, and that ways. But even though the Rhapsody of the Seas had thrusters, they didn't have what these new ships have, you know. And that's whenever they started building these ships with that little bulge in front of them and everything. You know, when the Rhapsody of the Seas, what it has, I think it does, because that's where the little thrusters are in there. So they can kind of use those thrusters to back off from things and kind of, or push it to help the tugboats kind of get them lined up with the dock and everything. But these newer ships, these ones out there on the ports and stuff, the huge ones, they can pretty much do it themselves, and very little help from the tugboats. But the whole point I was trying to get at, though, is that from the time they got into that canal, they probably got out there. Some people said it would. Some people were saying it would take them an hour to dock that ship. I'm like, and Brad was saying something about it. I said, well, really? Like, if you look at what these ships do now, it's like it doesn't take an hour or anything. But maybe whenever you get to the dock, it does. It kind of takes an hour to dock the ship on the port or on the dock and whatever, but it doesn't take an hour for that ship to go from the one side of the canal to the other. It takes about 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes, you know, depending on how fast they're going or how fast they're being tugged. But somebody's thinking like a whole hour. I think, nah. I'm like, I'm sitting there and I'm watching the whole thing, you know. It doesn't take an hour. Even with that, I watched the Freewind ship, and I watched videos of the ships that they had on there. For some reason or another, they had to, one time Rhapsody had to go in there and do some kind of turnaround. They had to come up into the canal and then back out and do it like a turnaround. I thought it was going to go in there and just dock, but no, they had to use the canal for something to help them get on one of the megaports. I forgot what it was. But somebody told me, you know, I don't know if that was Brad or something, but it's like, no, that don't take a whole hour for them to get in there. No. From the start to the canal, and the mouth of the canal, to the other side of the canal, which goes to Shottegut Bay, that big, huge place where the refinery is, does not take an hour. You know, it might, when you get to the docks, roping the docks on there and everything, put the ropes on the cleats and stuff and all that, and tying it down and all that, tying the ship, securing the ship to the dock might take an hour, but not traversing the open of St. Anna Bay to the end of St. Anna Bay. That doesn't take an hour. To get where you're going doesn't take a whole hour. To tie the ship down might take an hour. But it was kind of crazy about what they were saying there. But I wasn't going to try to doubt Brad that he was wrong or anything, but I just told him, I said, well, this is what it shows here and stuff and what have you. But the whole thing that the show was trying to say is that from the time, from what I heard on the interviews and stuff, you know, they can also trace these IP addresses and stuff like that. And it might be Amy that's looking into some of these things or what have you, looking at what, you know, they can, this dude, Anthony Willis was his name, and he created a website. And of course, now it's been updated and everything. He's the one that made the website for the Bradleys and everything. It was actually his website. And let's see here. It was David Carmichael's the one that saw Amy, he said, back in 6 or 7 months later on Playa Maria, which is a beach over there in Curacao. Saw her with 2 guys, and she was athletic. She had tattoos. So evidently she was wearing something that exposed her tattoos. Dizzy Devil with the basketball. People say one Tasmanian Devil, but they're not wrong in saying that, but it's particularly a Dizzy Devil. And that was whenever they, back then, is whenever they put those kind of things out that, you know, they were kind of gender neutral almost. That's whenever all that stuff started coming out, pretty much, you know. The Dizzy Devil was kind of in between a boy and a girl, I guess, you know. And spinning the basketball on his finger and stuff. And so, and then you had, she had been, he evidently saw her, and I think later on, they got in depth outside of the show and everything, is that he was pointing it out and everything, and she was pointing out tattoos and stuff on herself, and I've been trying lately of trying to match up videos, not videos, but AI made videos based on her image, trying to kind of get an assumptive thing what she might have done in between the facts, you know, where the facts might have led, but those are not all facts. I mean, the things I show in my AI videos and stuff are not all facts, but it's assumptions because of the facts. That she might have went out the room and met up with Yellow on the elevator, and that was the Lori and Crystal, the witnesses said that's what she did. You know, that was a fact. When she was staring at whatever, maybe it was her watch, maybe something else she kind of, but Lori said something other about her having blue shorts on. Her dad said something about her having blue jeans on, and that when that Deci, the cab driver, when she evidently was her that was off the ship, asked him where her payphone was, it was that he saw her green eyes, and that the pants were blue jeans. So I asked Brad. Brad said told me that Lori said they were blue shorts, that Deci saw blue pants. I'm like, which one is it? So I'm assuming they were probably capri blue jeans or something like that. All right, so anywho, it's an hour and a half here, so I hope y'all enjoyed this and everything, and I do hope too that Amy is found, or whatever for whatever reason she's out there. I hope that what? Who's this now? Alicia viewed your profile. Who? Packy Zero. Alicia and Packy Zero reviewed my profile on TikTok. I hope for whatever reason she's still out there. She just knows that, you know, not only her family care about her and love her and everything, but people don't even know her physically or who've never ever met her in their life, you know, care about her too. And I found it kind of weird sometimes, because back in, it was at like, what, 93, I went to Richmond, and I was helping with some stuff, putting down carpet and stuff, and we went back and forth about 2 or 3 times. The first time we went there, we were going in a van, and we had to stay there for like 3 or 4 hours. But fortunately, about 5 hours close. Fortunately, we did it on 95, I-95, and it was freaking miserable. I tell you, it was miserable, and I could not wait for us to go home. And yeah, I'm never doing that again in my life. But the last couple of times after that, I took my Mustang there. You know, I had like a 81, 82 Mustang, and we were going there. I forgot what road it was or whatever, but I looked it up several months ago, and I was telling Brad about it, and I was asking, did Amy ever work, in that area? And I don't think he said that she did, but I kind of remember distinctly there was a Denny's, and I think he didn't say that whether she worked at a Denny's or not, but she did work at a restaurant. Of course, she worked at that grist that or Mary's, whatever it was, that place she worked at, that her aunt and uncle had, or something like that. That somebody that she knew had it. But Tom worked there also as one of the managers, and I think Amy was the expediter or something like that, or either Tom was, I forgot. But anyway, she worked over there at one of those restaurants, and I think she worked at an earlier restaurant, because the one, it seemed like that might have been her that I met at a restaurant, or somebody very much like her, because they had a short haircut, a short pixie haircut, and a blondish type of hair. I think said something other about she was going in college or something like that, and I could have swore that might have been Amy. I could have swore. And so first year of college or whatever, this is 93. I think she graduated in, was it a couple years before that? It could have been, I'm not sure, but she might have graduated in 97. I think she might have went 93, 94, 95, 96, 97. Amy did. So she would have been in college. She might have been home for a little bit or whatever, or she's about to go. She might have graduated high school. I don't know what time she graduated high school. If she was born in 74, she probably would have graduated in 92, 93. So that would make sense. That would go along with that. Yeah, I'm still streaming. So anyway, I could have swore I said that, there are a lot of people that look like other people, and that's the whole thing about this jazz thing. Amy's jazz. I'm like, no, that's not even her. And they show that on the show, and I'm like, yeah, it ain't. That is not Amy. Even two AIs on there can say that. Though that's not Amy. It looks similar, but that's not. Two AIs said that, and that I put on TikTok. But anyway, I could have swore that was her. I could have swore on the Bible almost that might have been her, because she was so nice. And she had this country accent, this Tidewater type of accent, this girl did. And it reminded me of Amy. And she had a short haircut, a pixie type haircut, kind of feathered back and whatever, blondish. And it looked like it might have been her, And I keep thinking, I said, Brad, was she ever working in Richmond area? Because, you had the place where I was at was right above Chester, or somewhere around there. Not far. She lived out in the other area there with her mom and dad at the time, but later she moved. I forget what the name of that place is now. Actually, Amy Mann, who was the singer, she came from that area that I'm thinking about. I forgot the name of that place right off, but Amy Mann also grew up and was born and raised there. And Amy Mann, of course, made that song "Hush Hush, Keep It Down Now." Voices carry, from 1981 to whatever. Amy Mann grew up and was raised there, so that's pretty cool. And I told Brad about it. I said, "Hey man, you ought to get somebody like Amy Mann who grew up on there to kind of advocate. If you got Beyonce, who's all into, was it not Beyonce, but Kim Kardashian, whoever it was, who's all about Amy and everything, what's happened to Amy and all that stuff. You can probably get musicians in on it too." And Brad's about wanting to get people to kind of help, whatever, donate and stuff like that, and help out with Amy. I'm like, wow, man. And this one guy who hates Trump and whatever, and he would donate this, that, and the other, and Brad's like, I don't care as long as they, I'm like, well, man, principles, dude. It's like, I wouldn't want nobody who's a Jew hater and hated Trump to help out. And especially whenever I have my feelings about certain things, I wouldn't want to stoop to the level. It's like, I don't care who they are, what they do, whatever, as long as they kind of help. My principle is to say no. I'm not going to do that, because they can hate whoever they want to, but if they hate Jews or whatever, they hate people or whatever, And if I get an advocate for me, or not for me, but for somebody I care about and love, I'm not going to get a Jew hater to do it. You know, and that's what I tell him, Brad. I don't think you should do that. But you know, that was my opinion. So I didn't say any more about it afterwards. But anyway, the girl grew up in that area, and I could have swore we went to the restaurant several times. And we ate there, whatever. It was one place and another place, and I could have swore I saw Amy there. I could have swore that I saw her face before. When I looked at Amy's face for the first time on that show, I know that face. But then again, too, you know, people have very similar faces, and that's what the whole thing about the Amy and Jazz thing. People have very similar faces. Some people can look like other people. Some people could have the same hairstyle as people. People keep telling me, you got a brother. I heard that when I lived in South Carolina, when I was born and raised in South Carolina, and I hear it there now. Don't I know you from somewhere? No, you don't know me from somewhere. I don't know you. I know faces. I don't know you. And, you know, it's like, you got a brother somewhere. I said, man, I heard that from where I was born and raised and even here. So, there you go. People look like one another. Well, hour and 40 minutes almost. One of my longest yet. So I think I'm going to get off here. I'm going to go home. I'm going to get the rest of this off my head. Then I'm going to take a shower. Because I took, how many laps did I do? 9 or 10? I can't remember. I did like 9 or 10 laps around that thing. So, and if it wasn't for me making this video, I probably wouldn't have been able to do it. That's how I was able to do what I did when I was working with Allied more. I had to go walk around that building. I had to hear something talking to me. I had my earmuffs on and everything, and I would just focus, man. I had my jacket on, had it zipped up, had my hood on, and it was kind of cold. But when it got colder than that, I didn't bother doing it. But yeah, that kind of felt pretty good. Made me feel pretty good. Had some sweat off my head there for a minute. So I'm gonna get in here, get on toward the house. Starting to sweat a little bit right in my armpits. I need to take a shower anyway. Get in here and get the rest of this hair off my head. Get a nice little shave and everything on my face, and then kind of put down and see what I can find on Netflix or whatever else. And like I said, I might go watch the Amy Bradley's Missing Again. They kind of get it pounded into my head what the show says. I really like I like kind of matching up, kind of filling in the gaps with what Brad says in his podcast and everything, because that kind of gives a lot of the information, missing information and everything. And that's why I like doing the AIs too, kind of use Amy's image with the way she looked with them, because you can take an image of somebody and you can turn that image into something else. I could take Amy's facial features that she had when she took with Brad and make it as if she's walking down a hallway or whatever else in her own body, just based on her facial features, what I put in the prompt. On Sora, on Sora, on Super Grok, you can do that. It's pretty cool. But with Super Grok though, you can get 10 minutes worth, but on Sora you get 15. Depends on, you know, if you got paying them more, they're like $300 a month, you get 25 seconds, and you can do all kind of things with ChatGPT and OpenAI. So anyway, like I said, I'm gonna get off here and I'm gonna wrap this up. A minute and 39 seconds. An hour and 39 minutes is what I'm trying to say. Been on here. I think that's one of my longest videos yet. So it's going to upload, and if you don't want to watch, don't watch. If you watch, thank you very much, and thank you for all those who come. McCoy, Johnson Gag. Oh my gosh, what a word! What a name. Swag Lord Eddie, thank you for watching. Who else was it? The Everything Channel, thank you for watching. Your belly is bigger than me. Yeah, so thank you guys. Freya Gross, thank you for watching. Jackson Hairfield, thank you for watching. Jordan, thank you for watching. God bless y'all. Take care, and we'll see you later.